The blizzard apocalypse is coming. Temperatures dropped to minus 60 degrees Celsius. Yet I was playing games and eating hot pot. My neighbors, who stole my supplies in my previous life, with nothing to eat or drink, they frantically asked me in the group chat if my supermarket was open, but I filmed a video and sent it to the owner's group. Eating hot pot in the snow is so satisfying. I was reborn and came back, just in time to run into my neighbor Wang Dazhuang, who came to buy a bottle of cola. I suppressed my hatred and handed him a bottle of cola. I didn't want to say another word. Thanks, boss. It's getting colder and colder lately. Make sure to stay warm. I watched his retreating figure. A cold sneer formed in my heart. In my previous life, it was this very Wang Dazhuang who, under the guise of neighborly mutual aid, was the first to lead the charge and break open my supermarket door and looted all the supplies I had hoarded. I glanced at the time, February 28th. There were still 4 days until the blizzard apocalypse. The weather forecast was also particularly jarring. Continuous sleet foreshadowed something abnormal. In my previous life, everyone thought it was just a normal drop in temperature, but it resulted in continuous low and non-stop blizzards. Eventually, the temperature dropped to minus 80 degrees Celsius. In this life, I must act quickly. That evening, when I returned home, Mao Bufan's voice drifted over, "My darling, taste the dishes I made myself. They're all your favorites." My eyes swept past the trash can. Several luxury takeout boxes were still steaming. He hadn't even known where the kitchen was for the past 7 years. And now he can cook. At the dinner table, Mao Bufan diligently served me food. Then he suddenly said, "Xiaobai, let's get married." The proposal had no flowers, numbering, not even a single sweet nothings. In my previous life, my supermarket was robbed. I crawled home, covered in wounds. But he complained that I hadn't brought back any supplies. And, embracing his cousin Liu Yunyan, he kicked me out. In this life, he's actually proposing to me on the eve of the apocalypse. My heart tightened, but I sat up straight. But my face broke into a wide smile. Alright, I'd like to see what trick he's got up his sleeve. I feigned coyness and asked, "If we get married, I'll give you a car." But I'm still a little short of money. Mao Bufan's eyes lit up. "How much? 50? His face instantly darkened. I continued my act. My mom passed away early and left me a large sum of money. I've never been willing to touch it. But for our wedding, I must buy a Maserati, so we can have a grand and glorious wedding." After a long pause, he squeezed out a fine. Soon my phone chimed. A bank transfer notification popped up. Received 500,000 yuan. Now, with my previous savings, I have over 1 million yuan. The apocalypse is coming. This money is enough for me to hoard a house full of supplies and comfortably get through the winter. Blizzard apocalypse countdown. 3 days left. Early in the morning, I came to the supermarket. Behind the property, there's a door leading to the basement. When I was little, I heard my mom say that back when there were no refrigerators, this place was a natural large ice cellar. It was especially good for storing goods. I twisted open the wooden door. A blast of cold air rushed out. I swept my flashlight around. It was a full 240 square meters. These past few days, using renovation as an excuse, I temporarily closed the supermarket. I contacted a renovation company. I had the workers completely cover the inside and outside of the supermarket with the best sound insulation, cotton and thermal completely wrapping them up. I also specifically instructed that the basement's ventilation pipes needed to be greatly extended when the extreme cold apocalypse arrives. And heavy snow blocks the doors. We'll rely entirely on the air from here. Also, the doors and windows, I requested that they all be reinforced. The glass was replaced with nano-bulletproof grade. The scene of those beasts breaking in during my previous life, I'll never forget it in this lifetime. The supermarket's main door must be a top-tier anti-theft door. And it needs to come with its own black tech. 360-degree, no blind spot, solar-powered security cameras. I'd like to see who dares to mess with my supermarket this time. Superpowers really come in handy. 5 top-notch renovation masters managed to compress the original 3-day construction into just 1 day. The speed is absolutely incredible. That night, I didn't want to go back and see Mao Bufan again. So I decided to just make do on the convenience store's folding bed for the night. I took stock of the supermarket's current supplies. Instant noodles, snacks, daily necessities, oil, salt, soy sauce, vinegar, toilet paper. Most everyday items were there. If I hadn't been completely looted by those neighbors in my previous life, I wouldn't have ended up so miserable. In previous years, February would have already warmed up, but this year, this cursed weather. The temperature has abnormally dropped to -5 degrees Celsius. It's so cold it makes people shiver. However, my supermarket and basement have been completely renovated, just waiting for supplies to arrive. Before I went to sleep, Mao Bufan's WeChat messages were still constantly asking why I wasn't coming home. He also said that my cousin, Liu Ryan, was coming to Yangcheng and would be staying at home. Hi. I had no mind to bother with him. Blizzard apocalypse countdown, 2 days, as soon as I woke up. I drove the usual supermarket delivery van, straight to the largest wholesale market. First, I immediately ordered the last 10 down comforters, a 2-meter-wide large bed, and 2 double-door refrigerators. All were placed in the underground safe room. Next, I bought 200 gin of diesel fuel, and 10 diesel generators. These things are hard currency. Electricity is essential to ensure a basic quality of life. In addition, I also acquired 500 solid alcohol blocks, 500 lighters, and 50 boxes of hand warmers. These are all essential for staying warm. The more the better. Oh, and cat litter. This isn't for cats. Go into the bathroom becomes a problem in extreme cold. 600 gin of cat litter should last me a while. As for food, I purchased 100 gin of potatoes, 50 gin of cabbage, and various other vegetables that are difficult to store. I got 100 gin of each. I also bought 50 gin of cured sausages and cured pork. These are hearty dishes that can be stored for a long time. At the vegetable market, I also pre-ordered 300 dumplings, 150 with pork and corn filling, and 150 with 3 delicacies. Being able to eat a hot dumpling in the bedroom would be a heavenly pleasure. To avoid attracting attention, I deliberately went to several different places to make scattered purchases. However, just as I was picking out the last few items, a familiar figure appeared, my dear cousin, Liu Ryan. Her shopping cart was filled with rice, flour, instant noodles, bottled water, and she was clutching a large stack of toilet paper. My heart skipped a beat. Why was she also starting to hoard supplies? Could she have also been reborn? Ryan, what are you doing at the supermarket? Her eyes flickered, a little flustered. Cousin, I came to Yangcheng to visit. I felt a bit awkward staying at your place, so I wanted to buy some things. This was too abnormal. The old Liu Ryan would only eat and take things, never buy things to bring over. I didn't press further, just quietly sped up my shopping. Back at the supermarket, after organizing the supplies, I was completely exhausted. However, as I lay on the 2-meter-wide bed in the basement, looking at the abundant supplies piled all around, I felt it was all worth it. Just as I was about to rest, several messages came in on my phone. Honey, didn't we agree to get our marriage certificate today? Honey, reply to my message quickly. Where exactly are you? You're not even coming home. Do you have someone else outside? I casually replied, I'm out buying you a Maserati. March 3rd, Blizzard Apocalypse, 1-day countdown. I had just woken up when I suddenly realized my warm clothes were still at home. I had to go back and pack them. So I opened the smart lock surveillance feed to see when they would leave. But on the screen, Mao Bufan and Liu Ryan were embracing. Darling, hurry up and get married to my sister. Once the apocalypse target is dead, all the insurance compensation will be yours. Liu Ryan's voice replied, all right. I'll do it as soon as possible. Didn't you say there would be a snow disaster tomorrow? Are the supplies ready? Everything's going smoothly. I turned off the surveillance, my fists clenched. I never expected them to have colluded even before the apocalypse, and even want to harm me. I immediately messaged Mao Bufan, waiting for you at the Civil Affairs Bureau. After getting the certificate, at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau, I deliberately hugged and embraced Mao Bufan, putting on a show of happiness. Out of the corner of my eye, her face green with rage. Soon, they made an excuse to leave. I guess they went to the insurance company. I quickly went home, packed my clothes and necessities. However, I didn't leave immediately. Instead, in a hidden spot, I installed several pinhole cameras. Before leaving, I wanted to see what kind of trouble they could stir up under the extreme cold. Day 1 of the extreme cold, the temperature plummeted to -10 degrees Celsius. Outside the window, everything was a blanket of white. I quickly checked the doors, windows, and vents. Everything was normal. The basement temperature also stabilized at around 18 degrees Celsius. I then blocked Mao Bufan. Not long after, my phone showed dozens of unknown missed calls. Someone's getting impatient already. I casually clicked on the pinhole camera feed hidden in the house. On the camera screen, Liu Ryan and Mao Bufan were shivering from the cold, hugging each other for warmth. Liu Ryan's voice came through. As long as we, like in our previous life, drive Shabai out to freeze to death, and endure for 3 months, the house, the supermarket, and the money his mother left behind will all be ours. Mao Bufan echoed. You're so smart. We must persevere. How disgusting. I turned off the surveillance. I pondered in my mind, if it's really as Liu Ryan said, that the extreme cold apocalypse only lasts 3 months, then the supplies I've hoarded are enough for me to comfortably get through these 3 months, or even longer. I turned around and made some sausage rice. Just as I was about to eat, my phone started ringing nonstop. I opened it and saw. It was the supermarket delivery group chat. Inside were purchase requests from residents of the community. Boss, quickly send 5 boxes of instant noodles and 10 boxes of mineral water to Building 9, Unit 901. Boss, it's been an hour already. Why haven't the 5 boxes of instant noodles been delivered yet? If they're not delivered soon, I'm going to complain. I recalled my previous life. It was also today that I realized the snow was unusual, so I started reminding everyone to hoard supplies. Braving the sub-zero winds of over 10 degrees below, I ran up and down throughout the entire community, delivering goods door to door, just so everyone could have a little more hope of survival. But what was the result? They were all insatiably greedy. That Dad Zhuang even brought a bunch of neighbors to loot my supermarket, taking everything. And they even called it neighborly mutual aid. It's the apocalypse. What's money worth now? Reborn into this life, I understand that in extreme environments, human nature is the most terrifying. I simply replied, it's too cold. The night black supermarket is temporarily closed. Everyone, figure it out yourselves. Just then, Dad Zhuang jumped out again, shouting provocatively, what's there to be afraid of when the apocalypse really comes? We'll just do a $0 shopping spree and be done with it. Although he quickly retracted it, I still saw $0 shopping spree. I looked at the reinforced supermarket door. Let's see how you'll do your $0 shopping spree. Day 7 of the extreme cold apocalypse. The temperature plummeted directly to minus 30 degrees. I was toasting myself by my little sun heater, feeling great. After eating my fill, I settled onto the sofa to watch some apocalypse mini-drama. On the home surveillance screen, Liu Ryan and Mao Bufan were frantically searching for something, but they searched through the entire coffee table and couldn't find it. Mao Bufan grew increasingly impatient. He made a call. At the same time, my phone rang. On the other end of the line, his voice was trembling. Where are you? Come back quickly. The remote control is missing from home. Hurry back and buy one. The doors and windows on the 18th floor had long been tampered with by gaps let in drafts, making it impossible to withstand the severe cold. As for me, I was leisurely toying with the air conditioner remote control in my hand. When I was packing my clothes earlier, I conveniently took it with me. I took a photo and sent it to him, adding a message. Are you talking about this asterisk remote control? 100,000 for one. No money, no deal. Mao Bufan immediately blew up. What do you mean by that? 100,000, why don't you just rob someone? You and Ryan Maimei are so close. You wouldn't want her to freeze, would you? If you don't give me 100,000, I simply hung up the phone. Inside, I felt incredibly satisfied. Mao Bufan, that stingy old miser, would definitely spend money to buy it. But when he got so cold he couldn't stand it anymore, he would naturally come begging me on his knees. Sure enough, he asked for help in the owner's group, trying to borrow, but no one paid him any mind. A few days later, the temperature dropped even further, reaching minus 40 degrees. A desperate Mao Bufan finally humbled himself and begged me to sell him the remote control. I opened a small window through the main door, telling him to transfer the money first. He was trembling all over from the cold, but he obediently transferred 100,000. I kindly sold him the remote control for 100,000, but he furiously cursed at me. Why doesn't the remote control have batteries? You didn't ask, did you? Batteries are 10,000 each. Excellent. Easily earned 120,000 from that scumbag. I returned to my basement for a good meal. Potatoes, enoki mushrooms, fatty beef, and some cured sausage. I lit up the spicy hot pot base on the portable stove, and it bubbled and simmered. The aroma was incredibly enticing. Good things shouldn't be enjoyed alone. I called Mao Bufan on video. That scumbag was grinning, thinking I was going to soften up and let them into the supermarket. I smirked and turned on my rear camera, pointing it at the steaming hot pot in front of me, giving them a 360-degree, no blind spot tour. Mao Bufan and Liu Ryan, on the other end, were so greedy their mouths were practically watering. They pitifully begged me, "Shall I, please, I beg you, let us into the supermarket. We're so cold and hungry. For the sake of our past relationship, please forgive me. Xiaobai, you can't just watch me freeze to death." Liu Ryan also nodded beside him, feigning pity. I said one word, scram. After saying it, I hung up immediately. The world was peaceful again. I picked up a piece of tripe, dipped it in sesame oil and minced garlic, and took a bite. The hot, spicy, and fresh flavors exploded in my mouth. I comfortably narrowed my eyes. I didn't expect that scumbag Mao Bufan to be quite devious. He actually secretly took a photo of me eating hot pot and sent it to the community group chat. The group instantly erupted in a storm of curses. All that talk about being selfish and heartless, refusing to help those in need, and a whole barrage of nasty moral blackmail. I just sent the hot pot video to the group along with a message. Eating hot pot on a snowy day is so awesome. Now the group chat really blew up. Let them talk. Anyway, I'm wearing headphones, so I can't hear a thing. I comfortably lay down on the bed and went to sleep. Suddenly, there was a series of loud bangs from the entrance of the upstairs supermarket. I bundled up my clothes and went up to check. I didn't expect the doorway to be packed with a dense crowd of people, smashing the door like mad. I didn't go near them. I just turned on the outdoor camera's microphone. "What are you doing?" "I'm calling the police." Dad Zhuang, open the door. "Boss lady, open up. We need to buy some food. We're starving to death." The neighbors around them also started crying and shouting. I said coldly, "There's nothing to buy in my house. Get lost." And just as I expected, they started spewing all sorts of nasty insults. But after they finished cursing, they still left. I thought that was the end of it. Who knew they'd be back again shortly after? This time was even scarier. Each of them was carrying a weapon, machetes, baseball bats, and shovels, all glinting. They were smashing and chopping at my door like lunatics. The clanging and banging was right next to my ears. They smashed away for ages, exhausted like dogs, their faces flushed. And the result, the door didn't even have a dent. Only a bit of paint chipped off. Dad Zhuang was panting heavily. He plopped down on the ground. "You stinking hag, if you've got guts, don't ever come out. Brothers, don't give up. The supermarket definitely has food. Fight for our lives." Someone else was there, playing the victim. "Oh, boss lady, it's safe now. Everyone's starving. Please have some mercy and open the door. You can't be so selfish. You'll get your comeuppance." Comeuppance, I've had enough suffering in my previous life. Don't even dream of it this lifetime. I leaned back in my chair, put on my noise-canceling headphones. The noise outside instantly vanished, and I continued watching my show. Before long, those neighbors trying to steal things from my door all scrammed. Looks like that's all they're capable of. Back in the basement, I habitually turned on the surveillance cameras, wanting to see the miserable state of that despicable couple upstairs. They certainly didn't disappoint me. On the monitor, they were huddled in a corner, quilts shivering, wrapped in several layers of tattered. The floor was covered with empty snack wrappers. They'd been ransacked. Serves them right. That's what you get for showing off in the group chat. Now look at you. You got completely cleaned out, didn't you? How could Liu Ryan be so stupid this lifetime? Only knew to hoard food, not realizing the higher the floor, the colder it gets. Didn't know neighbors hoard food while I hoard defenses. Didn't reinforce her house, just waiting to be robbed. But this is just an appetizer. I saw Liu Ryan stretch out a hand from under the tattered quilt and tremblingly pick up a moldy bun. Just as she was about to put it in her mouth, Mao Bufan, quick as a flash, snatched it away. "That bun is mine. Give it back, this is my house. Whatever's found in my house is mine." Mao Bufan had gone mad too. The two of them, over a single moldy bun, completely turned on each other. Liu Ryan, when he wasn't looking, kicked him right in the crotch. Mao Bufan doubled over in pain, clutching himself as he fell to the ground. Liu Ryan snatched the bun, ran into the room and locked the door. "You bitch. Just you wait." Mao Bufan howled from outside, his voice filled with misery and hatred. I couldn't tell if he was cursing Liu Ryan or me, or regretting they ever messed with me. It's been a month since the shutdown began. The entire city is dark. My generator can only be started occasionally. The surveillance cameras are intermittent. I wonder how that scummy couple upstairs is doing. The news says there are still many volunteers involved in snow disaster relief. Support teams are running all over the place. Power workers are still rushing to repair power lines in -60 degrees. Doctors are saving people in shelters. I was just scrolling on my phone, but I always feel like the air in the basement isn't right. It's stuffy and has an earthy, fishy smell. It's quite uncomfortable. If the ventilation in this basement is broken, it won't do for long. I frowned. I still felt that earthy, fishy smell was off. Could it be that the neighbors are up to something again? They couldn't get into the supermarket before. Maybe they've set their sights on my ventilation shaft. I quickly wrapped my down jacket tighter and opened the supermarket surveillance to take a careful look. I specifically zoomed in on the ventilation shaft. After confirming there was no movement outside, I carefully pushed open the thick security door. Whoosh, a gust of ice shards mixed with snowflakes poured in. It made me shiver from the cold. I crouched down and quickly scanned around. Outside, it was a vast expanse of white. The world was covered as if by a giant white sheet. It was terrifyingly quiet. As I nervously scanned the snow, I suddenly heard a very faint meow. Meow, meow, meow. Where would a cat come from in this weather? I held my breath. Meow. It is a cat. There's still a cat alive in this godforsaken place. In a snow pit in the corner of the wall, there was a broken nest, and dry grass barely offered some protection from the wind. Curled up in the nest was a small, furry creature. My heart softened. I pushed aside the accumulated snow. A frozen little kitten poked its head out. Its brownish-yellow fur was matted and messy. It was just palm-sized. It was skin and bones, clearly on its last legs. I quickly and carefully scooped it into my hands. "Little one, what are you doing here?" Back in the warm basement, the kitten slowly regained its strength. It slightly opened its wet amber eyes, then closed them again, lacking the strength to keep them open. I used a towel to wipe the bloody water from its body. I poured some warm milk and brought it to its mouth. The kitten's nose twitched. It began to lap at it in small sips, seeing it eat like a starving ghost reborn. My nose stung. In this apocalypse, even humans struggle to survive, let alone a cat. From now on, you'll stay with me. I'll give you a name. How about Little Tiger? The kitten let out a soft meow. A few days later, the power actually came back on. I quickly turned on the air conditioner and the space heater. My frozen body slowly warmed up. I cooked a steaming bowl of plain noodles. As I ate, I turned on the surveillance cameras. The 18th floor had long become an ice cellar. There was no one in the surveillance footage. Yu Ryan and Mao Bufan must have frozen solid. I curled my lip. I opened the owner's group chat. They were just talking about them in the group. Someone said, they saw a couple go out looking for food and got greedy. They tried to snatch it, but they were thrown out of the door by a strong man and froze to death. Serves them right. People like that deserve to die. I heard they even bit each other before they died. The man, to snatch the last piece of moldy bread from the woman's hand, pushed her down the stairs. He also broke his leg and couldn't get up. My heart swelled with satisfaction. In my previous life, they conspired to freeze me to death. In this life, they're killing each other. Heaven truly has eyes. I was about to close the group chat when a new message popped up. Have you heard? The door-smashing gang are all dead. What happened? They formed a group to go to the neighboring community to loot. But they ran into an even fiercer group. Directly wiped out their entire lineage. Back then, they were looting everywhere. My belongings were also stolen. I looked at the messages in the group chat. I was grinning from ear to ear. These people in their past lives, they were the ones who led the looting of all my belongings. In this life, they died even earlier than me. What goes around comes around. The third month, the blizzard stopped. The fourth month, the temperature began to rise. The world, frozen solid like an ice Buddha, began to thaw. The fifth month, the extreme cold apocalypse ended. My supermarket could reopen. I just looked down at my feet. A little shadow, a small tiger, was now by my side.